just finished sanding them all. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to paint because it's getting a little late, but I'll see. What you doing, Batman? Eh? What you doing? Know where your ball is? Where's your ball? Eh? Where's your ball? Yep, it's there. I just put all the pickets away. I was having a lot of trouble with the sprayer. You can see a lot of sort of little fine overspray on the ground and spray on the sawhorses where I was trying to get the sprayer to work. After packing up, I undid the spray gun and found a big clump of old paint stuck in the tube of the gun. There's the pickets, and that's actually the painted side. Looks like crap. I got one fine coat on one side, but I've cleaned out the gun. There was a clog inside right here that was just basically clogging the siphon tube. I ended up getting it all blown out and it's flying through the air and everything now. So tomorrow's Monday. I might be able to get set up after the morning meeting and do a quick spray. I don't know. I'll see what the weather's like tomorrow. Been a bit of a bugger of day. I spent about an hour and a half sanding them, every side of them with the belt sander. At least they're sanded and sort of ready for being painted. And I don't have a lot of paint, the undercoat. But the good thing about the sprayer is that the paint dries a bit quicker. So that was touch dry to bring it back in. I hadn't done it that long ago, so I just hope this works better tomorrow. This gun here, where is it? This one was leaking from the front, this is like a gravity one with a tub that sits on top, and it was just leaking out the front. So there's something wrong inside this. It wasn't working at all. It looks like it's seized up. Don't know if the spring's busted because that's happened with one of the other guns I've had. Morning. Week 2 of remote learning. I've just prepared some more work for year 11. Some theory work and notes that'll go along to help them with their cluster B. And I've emailed that through this morning so that can get photocopied, hopefully in time for some of them to get up and collect. I'm assuming they're going to try and collect stuff today unless the kids have, because I don't have them till tomorrow in the timetable. I've only got year 10 today according to my timetable, 11:30, so pretty soon. I was thinking of trying to do, set all those pickets up and get some spraying done in between doing things, because I figured it might get dry. But it's a really cloudy day today, and the weather report says cloud all day, and knowing the Blue Mountains, we'd probably get rain on top of that even if it isn't forecast. But the next few days have got some sunny days, so I might be able to get something of that done then, because I do want to try and get these pickets. Batman keeps wanting to come out the door with me when I'm coming out here, and he's a brave little fella and started barking at birds, and I don't think he'd jump off the deck, but I'd still like a bit of safety out there. Let's see what week 2 brings us. News conference is on right now. I should have been checking that to see what the latest numbers were, because they haven't been getting better. They've actually been getting worse. And there's fairly high numbers of people finding out that they're COVID positive and they're out in the community and that sort of stuff. And the worst thing that was on the news over the weekend was this group of removalists who, this group of 4 guys, 3 of them knew that they were COVID positive, but they still went out and did a job, and the job involved them heading right out into Western New South Wales and regional New South Wales, and stopped in multiple places. So where regional, everything west of the mountains has been fairly untouched by COVID, these guys were down in the hot zone of Fairfield and decided to go and work out in regional New South Wales. And yeah, apparently they've been charged by the police. And the government's pretty wanting to try and get really strict with the extra restrictions. They basically said, yeah, to employers, if your employee is able to work from home, you have to let them work from home. If you try and force them to come into, especially office workers, they said, if you try and force an office worker to come into work when they can do stuff online, then they're facing a $10,000 fine as from this coming Wednesday. So they're giving them a little bit of time to get stuff organised. Yes, I'm in the car and driving somewhere. I did go out last night to post my package. I ended up going at like 10:30 at night, and like everything is closed down where our post office is. So all I had to do, I knew I was going to come into contact with nobody, and I was able to just drive up to the front of the post box, get out, chuck my package in the post box, get back in the car and drive back home. So that part I wasn't too worried about, although I still did put a glove on when I went over to the letterbox to grab it. Call me paranoid, but this Delta variant is so much more contagious, and they're counting like roughly 100 new cases every day, and a quarter of them usually or more are out in the community while they were infectious. And so when I checked the things yesterday, there was actually like areas of concern where you need to get yourself tested and wait for results. Isolate. Falconbridge had one at the gas station. There's a couple of spots down at Glenbrook, quite a few around Penrith, Emu Plains, that sort of stuff. So there's a few spots popping up out this way and up the mountains, and it's like, it's best to just go nowhere. But a workmate of mine rang me this morning after we got off our morning meeting and said that there was a vaccination place in Blacktown that had gotten Pfizer in and was making appointments. Said when she checked this morning there was like 3 appointments, and she sent me a link, and while she was sending me a link she goes, oh, there's only 2 appointments. By the time I got on, there was 1 appointment. I grabbed it and went through the booking, and it went through. So I have a booking in 45 minutes down in Blacktown to get my first Pfizer jab. Well, I'm going to be absolutely honest and say that I'm actually quite nervous about leaving the house. The last thing I want to do is potentially pick up the virus and bring it home. The vaccination place is not in the middle of town, of Blacktown, which I was really concerned about when they first said Blacktown. I went, God, that's a really busy place. But it's not. It's being set up at a function centre, like away from everything, kind of. But then on the other hand, it's going to have loads of people going down there to get a Pfizer jab or an AstraZeneca jab, whatever. What's the date today? The 19th of July. 40 days earlier than my other appointment, which means I should get my second jab even before my first jab was due with the other appointment. I think the opportunity to try and be vaccinated, especially because I have a real fear that they'll open it up to schools to go back to work and we won't be able to work from home. at the end of the 2 weeks. I mean, if it's like it is now, they'll say no, because they've actually said to our boss, he told us this morning, they want a maximum of 6 people on site for the just in case students have to be there. But they've actually said, the government is telling parents and the department is telling parents, please keep your kids at home. Telling teachers, do not go to school. But if it opens up and we have to go, I'll feel a lot better being vaccinated, even though I know that vaccination doesn't mean you can't catch it and pass it on. Vaccination just means if you do catch it, your chance of getting really sick will be significantly mitigated, but you can still catch it and pass it on. So it'll be like, just like I've been for the past year, living in a mask, which I'm actually okay with. Just arrived down at the vaccination clinic, vaccination centre. I can see a line of people on their way in, a socially distanced line. My appointment's in like 15 minutes, so but by the look of the line, I probably go over there now. They told me to bring my own pen. I got my letter from the boss. I'll head on over, all the way over there. Got that jab. Since I was coming this way, I needed more dog food for the dogs. And there's only one place near us that I can buy it, and that's down here. I rang them this morning and said, would they do a click and collect? Yep, they can do that. So I paid on the phone this morning, and I just pulled in there then, and they just dumped the bag into the back of the truck. It's like a 12 kilo, 26 pound bag of kibble for the boys. Because I had to come down here too, the exact meeting that we have this afternoon for work is a Zoom one. So I was a little bit late for it because I was getting the jab. When I got in the car park, got into Zoom on the phone, and then just sort of listened to the meeting. There was one thing I wanted to raise, but it's more, I can do that in an email. After the jab, they get you to sit down in a waiting area and ask you to use the QR code, try and book your second appointment there. And they had a little sign up saying bookings after the 9th of August. The earliest date they had was the 29th of August, which is like the day after my original first. It's like 6 weeks away. They said that's okay, but they said they usually find that there's cancellations and that sort of stuff, which is probably how I got my appointment today. So I'm going to, they said they sometimes have appointments but get opened up, so I'm going to check. But they also have 3 other places. One of them's down in the city. I'll just keep checking. Look at this tree that's just snapped in that windstorm the other night. So look at that. It's just come crashing down the road.